Hello and welcome to From the Helm. I'm Grady Wolf, market analyst with Bell Direct, and we're live here in Perth with some very exciting news hot off the press today. I'm joined by Alex Rivera, the Managing Director of Brightstar, and Mark Cossum, the Managing Director of Gateway. Gentlemen, it's not often that we have two of you in one video, both from different companies. Alex, I'll start with you. Talk to us about the news fresh off the press yesterday, a bit of a three-way merger, some tenements from you from Gateway going to Brightstar. Talk to me about everything that broke in yesterday's news.
Yeah, thanks, Grady. Look, it's been a busy transaction. There's three counterparties. There's Brightstar, Alto Metals and Gateway. So we announced a merger by way of a scheme of arrangement with Alto Metals and contemporaneously acquiring the Montague East Gold Project from Gateway Mining. For us, the transaction was very logical. It was the consolidation of the Sandstone district. For us, it delivers 1.5 million ounces to our portfolio, and I think fast tracks that whole region for a development proposition.
Now, Mark, the sale of your gold interests at the East Montague project were part of a core part of Brightstar transactions that we've just obviously heard from Alex. What does the transaction mean for Gateway, and what's the outlook for you now that that asset is no longer part of your project?
Yeah, thanks, Grady. It's pretty key transaction for us and does probably three things. The first is for Gateway shareholders. It gives them some crystallisation of value of the investment that we've put into the project over the last number of years, and sort of shows a way forward of generating some returns from that investment that shareholders have put in. And secondly, it basically still exposes our shareholders to the upside in the region. We've always been a believer that consolidation in the Sandstone region is really a big value add for the project and for the shareholders, and this way we still maintain exposure to that through our shareholding in Brightstar. And thirdly, what it does, it obviously gives us capital and gives us the resources needed to continue our exploration in the region, which we still, really deeply believe is prosperous and prospective for Gateway shareholders. So for those three reasons, this is a great deal for Gateway shareholders.
Alex, can you give us an overview of what the combined company will look like and how the new Sandstone portfolio fits your existing assets in your range?
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, we now have over 3 million ounces of resources in Western Australia. Majority of those are located on granted mining leases. So we've got a great asset base to build a multi-asset development company. So we've got the existing operations in the Laverton and Menzies areas. We are seeking to put those into production in the next 12 to 24 months. And we feel that once in production, the cash flow generated from those assets can be put into the Gateway and Alto ground. So ultimately, we can use our existing assets to fund the development of the Sandstone region. Mark,
you're set to receive an injection of $14 million in cash from this deal that's been done yesterday. Where are you going to deploy this capital?
I suppose in the short term, we're going to be continuing our exploration efforts at Montague. So we retained the western tenement blocks, which are still prospective for gold and a really sort of unrecognised base metal potential there, particularly copper and nickel. And then on the eastern tenements where Brightstar have purchased the gold rights, we still retain those base metal rights. So we've been recently doing quite a bit of work there on the copper nickel potential of the belt, and it's something that really hasn't been thoroughly explored in the past, and we really believe with our technical team that we've got in Gateway, and now with the capital behind us in the balance sheet, that we can really give that a good go.
Alex, where does this new acquisition put you in the realm of other gold producers in the region of Western Australia?
So in terms of explorers and developers, we'd have the largest JORC resource out of anyone apart from De Grey. So it's an enormous kind of gold endowment in the portfolio. We see the opportunity to build multi-assets and ideally becoming a mid-tier producer in a few years' time. If we can develop the Sandstone region with the Laverton region and do what we can with Menzies for our toll treating scenario, then we can have 3 production areas in the next few years.
Now, Mark, can you give us an overview of obviously the Sandstone region right now and the new nickel copper deposit you've recently announced and outlook you've announced? How does this change the game, offloading some of the gold assets and have this nickel copper in your portfolio now too?
Yeah, well, I guess it's a good question actually, because it's something that this part of WA hasn't really had a lot of attention to. But when you look at the rocks there and compare it to other parts of Western Australia, there's definitely that potential for some pretty significant deposits, and it's something that we've done a lot of work on. It came about through our gold exploration as a bit of an offshoot, and then we started to recognise that the right rocks were there, the right conditions were there. We actually had some really, really interesting assay results in our database already, and when we started to follow up on these, we saw there was genuine potential for sulphide, copper and nickel platinum group element deposits there. So we've done some drilling over the last 6 to 9 months, started to get some good results, got some copper in sulphides, and this really allows us to take it forward. So at Flame Tree, we've been doing some drilling. another prospect called Montague Range. We started to recognise through soil sampling and mapping that the same sort of conditions exist. So we've got a number of opportunities in the short to medium term to capitalise on.
Copper is certainly a commodity that is very hot right now, along with gold. Alex, what's the outlook for the next 12 months for Brightstar?
So we want to be looking to develop a few of our mines in the Laverton area. So there's namely the Jasper Hills project. We have a definitive feasibility study underway that should be completed early next year. And really that'll articulate the development strategy for refurbishment of our infrastructure. We do own a processing plant on care and maintenance, the development of the Jasper Hills project, the Cork-Tree Well project and Menzies. So really that study will show, I suppose, the low capital approach to hopefully up to 100,000 ounces per annum production.
Now, Mark, I'll ask the same question here. What's the outlook for Gateway for the next 12 months?
Well, I suppose in the short term, like I mentioned before, we'll be continuing some pretty aggressive exploration at particularly Flame Tree and Montague Range, but also some early stage gold exploration. We still love gold as well, and we still think there's a lot of potential there at Montague West. So we'll be doing that sort of work and trying to advance those prospects. I suppose a bit longer term, this balance sheet allows us to look for other opportunities elsewhere, and that's a real opportunity for Gateway shareholders because we're big believers in those commodities, gold particularly going forward. So exposing our shareholders to that and this sort of cycle in the gold market is going to be key for us.
Now, I'll let either of you answer this one. Gold is the commodity of the last 2 years. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. What do you think the outlook is from your perspective, and how does this play into your strategic outlook for each of your companies?
Yeah, look, I'll start. We're very supportive on the gold price environment. I think coming into hopefully an interest rate cutting environment with inflation looking like it's getting handled, I think is obviously, conventional wisdom suggests that's pretty good for US dollar gold. The Aussie dollar is under pressure at the moment, so we're kind of seeing the dual tailwinds of a rising gold price and a weakening Australian dollar. So we're seeing all-time high Aussie gold price at the moment. Hopefully that continues. Regardless, it's a great price to be building a gold business now. So I think, if you can't make money at 3,700 plus an ounce, you probably shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark, thoughts?
Alex has stolen my thunder, really. Pretty much agree with everything you said. And I suppose the key for us is that we recognise and think the same way. So when Alex first started talking to us about this opportunity, we definitely saw the potential to get it into a bigger play and with the same thoughts on the macro environment and what that means for the gold price going forward. So really are, bullish about where it's going to be over the next sort of 12 to 24 months.
I think you and a lot of investors and the market out there is very bullish on gold, and it is a commodity to have right now. Now, M&A activity is really hot in Western Australia right now and the markets as a whole. Where do you see the increase in M&A in gold, and do you see it as a really positive thing, or is it a bit of a hindrance to the market?
Look, I certainly think it's a positive thing. We're clearly pretty supportive of M&A. We've done 4 M&A transactions in 12 months, 18 months.
Wow.
Look, I think you've seen a scenario in the equity capital markets where all the producers have re-rated quite significantly in the WA gold sector, and the explorers have really struggled to get any traction whatsoever. So we've really seen this big divorce between two market segments. I think we'll continue to see M&A whereby producers and developers will continue to buy explorers and really just trying to pick up cheap ounces in the ground that probably cheaper than you can discover them for, and really kind of trying to backfill some of that their production profiles and their growth aspirations. So the mid-tier sector has certainly come growth. I think there's a lot of opportunities for that to continue.
Outlook?
Yeah, definitely. Once again, agree. I suppose it's hard to think much differently. And I think one of the keys there, as Alex said, and having we've been in that position, that the value for junior gold, particularly junior gold explorers over the last couple of years, has been hard to crystallise, and there is a lot of value there to be recognised. And I think the other thing too is it starts to simplify the investment landscape as well. There's a lot of companies out there competing for the same capital, and really that's not sustainable. There's a finite amount there. So this is just a natural cycle. But what it does do is it then frees up some human resources and the like to go and find the next opportunities elsewhere. So it's just part of the resource cycle, and it's a good thing.
Alex Rivera of Brightstar and Mark Cossum of Gateway, thank you for joining us on From the Helm today. We hope you enjoyed that episode with not one but 2 managing directors. Thank you.